Built in the 517 is a podcast about the people who make our local business community what it is. In each episode, host Katrina Hofstetter sits down with business owners from across mid-Michigan to hear their stories, their challenges, and what it really takes to build something from the ground up. The show exists to spotlight local leaders, support small businesses, and strengthen the connections that keep our communities thriving. Here's your host, Katrina Hofstetter.
Welcome. I'm your host, Katrina Hofstetter. This is Built in the 517, the podcast that brings stories that inspire you, encourage you, and possibly introduce you to your next favorite local business. My guest today is Dave Rademacher, owner of Good as Old in Grand Ledge. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm waving for people who aren't just listening.
So when I originally heard about your business, the first thing that came to mind was this old show that I used to watch with my dad called This Old House with Bob Vila. I didn't fully understand what you did. I heard like restoration and old stuff. But after learning more about what you do, it seems like the focus is really restoration, preservation, and then you salvage antiques or unique items.
Correct. Yeah. And it's funny you bring up This Old House because that was one of my favorite shows growing up and magazines that I subscribed to. And prior to launching the Good as Old, I had a social media page that was dedicated to house restoration. And that, I'm sure we'll get into how that transition happened, but I like to think of myself as the This Old House for millennials.
Nice. Okay. So I wasn't far off. I'm glad.
No, not far off. Yeah, there was a direct correlation between the renovation stuff I did and how the architectural salvage business kind of came to be.
Nice. Okay. So what really was that catalyst for the passion to restore and start this business?
Yeah, for basically all of my life, I had some sort of job in the trades. As a teenager, even before I got my driver's license, I started working for a couple small remodeling companies in the area. I was always handy, but that was my first hands-on in the trades. And some of those jobs were in the Grand Ledge area, and Grand Ledge, like most cities, have an older stock of homes. And so the houses that we were remodeling, the kitchens that we were restoring were always on old homes. And so that's where I grew an appreciation for how things were built, the materials that were used, the craftsmanship, the art of it. And so my first house was a pre-1900s house. My second house was a pre-1900s house. My third house, fourth, and I think it was either 4 or 5 homes that are pre-1900 that we restored and sold. So the 2 houses ago in Grand Ledge, we purchased in 2013 or 14, and it was a 6,100 square foot mansion. And it had a 1,500 square foot carriage house. And it had been turned into 5 apartments in the 50s, including there was a 3rd story ballroom that was also its own apartment. And so my grand idea was to turn it back into a single family house. Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
It had frontage on the front and the back. It's beautiful. Brick, Italianate style. And so when they remodeled it in the 50s into apartments, they had taken out everything that was historically significant to the home. So there's no original doors, trim, lighting, fireplaces, like you name it, like it was all gone. I started collecting for the restoration and putting everything in the carriage house. So as in my travels, and I was doing outside sales at the time for work, and so I traveled a good chunk of Michigan. It kind of allowed me to pick up stuff as I saw it, and then away I had it when I needed it for that particular portion of the restoration. Well, then my wife and I had 2 kids within 11 months of each other, and the restoring a 6,100 square foot mansion with 2 babies that are basically twins wasn't really in the cards.
Yeah.
So we found another. It was still a project, even though we downsized and moved a little bit further away. I had amassed all this collection in the carriage house for architectural salvage. So it's like, okay, let's hold the sale. We did it. I did a good job marketing it and putting it in different channels and stuff like that. But there must have been 150 people that came through within the first like 20 minutes. Like there were people standing at the garage waiting to come in. And you couldn't even, I opened the doors at whatever it was, 9 o'clock, and you could not stand in the carriage house. There were so many people. And so Brittany, my wife, she's in one corner, and people are asking me questions, and I'm just give her the money. It was like I basically sold everything in the matter of hours.
Wow.
Made some decent money to put towards the other house and projects, and it was really fun. And so I just kind of kept that going, as I'd find pieces that I could restore or that were left on the curb. I mean, a lot of the stuff, unfortunately, that I rescue is stuff that people don't find value in or don't know it has value, and or ends up in the landfill. So much stuff ends up in the landfill because people are like, oh, it's old, it's gross, nobody wants this.
Yeah.
Pitch it in the dumpster. So the new property had a pole barn on it, and so I was able to kind of keep that going. And then I had my Instagram page for the house restoration stuff that I had been doing. And so then I started a new page called Good as Old, and I kind of slowly started transitioning people over there, making content for there, turning pieces. And so it was kind of a little bit of jump start as far as following base is concerned, and just kind of compounded from there. But been doing some form of social media for a little over 10 years now.
Wow. So did I hear you correctly? You were talking about moved to a new property when you did the sale. Were you guys living in the mansion while you were doing the restoration?
Yes. So the benefit of it being split up into 5 apartments was that we could live in one of the apartments. And we rented out a couple of the apartments that I wasn't working in. The first project was the 3rd floor ballroom. So I was actively renovating the 3rd floor. And the plan was to move from our first level apartment with like what they call it, the owner's suite, to the ballroom. So then I could work on the rest of the property. Right. So that was the plan. So yeah, we lived in an apartment, and then rented them out, and then there's some extra income and stuff. It was a whole thing.
So do you know what the condition of the house is now? Has somebody finished restoration? Is it back to being apartments?
It's back to being apartments. I sold it to a gentleman that I knew who had apartments in the area, and he kept it as apartments. I mean, it's kind of overkill, I think, for most people. Right. I just have a lot of grandiose ideas. Yeah. So he fixed it up somewhat, not to the style or era I would have, but at least it's being maintained.
Sure. So when you were out collecting things for that property, did you have to focus on like a certain geographical area? Like if you went out of state and found things from that same time period, would they be completely different from the original character of that property in Grand Ledge?
Not necessarily. There's a lot of consistency during that time period. I mean, there's only so many manufacturers at the time.
True.
And there was certain styles that were popular at different eras. So it just kind of takes a little bit of knowledge to know, okay, this is an Italianate fireplace, this is a classical revival, this is a Greek revival, and they all have separate characteristics, but there's also a lot of overlap too in time periods and also architectural styles even within the same house. So the house that we were restoring, the mansion, was originally built as an Italianate in the 1870s. And then in Grand Ledge, there's it's now apartments, but it was a chair factory. Grand Ledge had a lot of furniture industry. And so the president of the chair factory, purchased the mansion, which was smaller, did not have a ballroom on it. And he added the 3rd floor. He added some other square footage, but also he changed it from Italianate to Colonial Revival, because that was Italianate was going out and Colonial Revival was in. So, So it's interesting to look at the house and see the 2 different styles. Like you can still see some elements of both in there. So in the house had some clues here and there, like, okay, this door is original, that was never got renovated, this hardware, and so I could find things that matched, what I knew to be there, or, would fit the style.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the services you're offering now. So I know that you are still collecting items, still doing some restoration, but just share with the viewers, what is a day look like for Dave?
It's a good question. So the architectural salvage business is actually just a passion project, side hobby, whatever you want to call it. My day job is still in construction. Currently, I work for a local construction company. I do sales, marketing, purchasing for them. So that's takes up a majority of my time.
Right.
In the good as old page or business, let me back up. So I purchased a building in Grand Ledge about 18 months ago. And so I've been restoring the building and also, moving my stuff out of storage into the building
Right.
over the course of time. But basically I see an opportunity for a piece that speaks to me, and then, I gather the piece, I make the necessary repairs if needed, or cleaning or restoration, and then I, make it available via my Instagram page.
Okay. What would you say are some of the more unique items that you currently have that are either in the works or available for people?
Yeah, the most recent acquisition I did, and this is kind of a cool story, and how it's evolved, how I've been able to acquire pieces. Like as the Instagram page has evolved and the TikTok page, I get more and more people reaching out to me versus me going out and finding the things.
Yeah.
So before the holidays, I had a gentleman, Carl, reach out to me in Buffalo, New York, and he is an artist and leather maker, among other things. And he had befriended a lady who owned a leather shop in Buffalo, and she was fifth generation.
Wow.
The business started in the 1850s by her, fifth great grandfather who immigrated from Germany, and they had tanning factories. It was just a whole thing. And there wasn't anybody else to continue the business. She was in her 70s, had some health issues. And so he's like, hey, I've been following, he sent me a message on Instagram. Hey, I've been following you for a couple of years. I've got this lady that I'm helping close her business and sell off things. And, I've got some things that look like something you'd be interested in. I don't know how far you travel. Are you interested? And so he sent me some pictures, and it was just the coolest stuff. And I've got videos and pictures on my Instagram. But it's, I specialize in larger pieces. So these are like general store counters from the 1850s, like full of drawers. And
yeah,
the longest one was 17 feet. And so I got 4 general store counters that date back to the 1850s. There's some clothing racks and some other stuff. And that stuff just doesn't survive.
Yeah.
Especially in complete condition. It gets thrown out, it gets busted up, it gets, it just doesn't survive. And so with the pieces that I collect, I also am equally attached to the stories that they have. And so just having the knowledge of where these pieces came from, the history, the things they've seen, I've met the people who've used them for generations. It's just so cool to have the story with the piece. Like it just gives it so much more value in my mind. So those are now in my shop. I drove to Buffalo, New York. I rented a 26-foot Penske truck, hired some local help. We loaded everything, and I drove 7 hours straight back, within 48 hours with a Penske truck full of cool old stuff. I've been asked before, like, describe what you collect. And I don't really have like a specific label or genre.
Right.
It's things that speak to me. It's like, I love this thing. I never buy or sell anything that I don't love. It's a passion project. I care about the pieces. I love the pieces. It's hard for me to sell them. It's fun to find them, but it's also fun to find them a new home where they live on.
Yeah.
And some of the pieces, they send me pictures of them, or, they end up in businesses that I can visit. A lot of repeat customers with that. But I love the Art Deco period. It's just, everything's a piece of art from there. I love sinks. I love purple sinks, pink sinks, green sinks, like
the little green sink that you got
little green
excited about.
That one did some numbers online. That was kind of wild. And that was, we started on social media and algorithms and whatnot, but it's just like, I just filmed that on a whim.
Yeah.
Just like, I was pumped up, and it took off, but it was cool. It was just really cool, unique item that you just don't see. So I like unique stuff. I like weird stuff. And it could transition different styles and genres. It's just, whatever I'm into.
There's a one of the videos I watched had this giant cabinet, and I don't know if it was the same one you were just talking about that you said was 17 feet, but it had a ton of little drawers and then kind of, I don't know if it was shelving or not. Is that something that you've restored and it's now in a new home?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was 10 feet wide. No, it was 9 feet wide by 10 feet tall, over 300 drawers. That I got out of Chicago. It was
Okay.
originally in a General Electric factory,
Huh.
and then it transitioned to a factory that was a tool and die factory. And again, the guy just he had it for sale, didn't think it was worth anything really, and
Yeah.
he just got blown up by everybody trying
Hmm.
to acquire it because it's like anything with drawers. You also
Yeah.
notice, like, if you go to my page, I just love drawers. They're just, in today's day and age, they're so impractical. And
Yeah.
there's something I kind of love about that. The craftsmanship and the scale is just a piece of art, I think, to me. So yeah, something with drawers, I'm in. Yeah.
You're excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an article that I read about you and your business from just last August, and there were a lot of pictures in the background for the pictures for the article.
Yeah.
Do you have any really unique signs that you've come across that you've still got?
Yeah. So the signs are kind of, I don't usually sell too many signs. It's usually
Okay.
I collect them just for hanging on the wall just because I
Yeah.
like them. I like the colors. Trying to think. I've got, yeah, a 60-inch golf foil sign. It's orange, and um, it's full of holes because
Yeah.
they in how I acquired it was somebody was going through their woods that was used to be a farm, and they walked on it, and they tipped it up, and it was just full of bullet holes because they had tipped it up and used it for target practice. So
Yeah.
it's just obliterated, but it looks cool. Like, I like that. And my son was probably 3, 4, 5 months at the time when I acquired it, and so we hopped in the car on like a Saturday and went to pick it up. And so I've got pictures with him, just teeny tiny next to this big
Yeah.
sign. And so now it's his sign, and I can never sell it. And it's just, so that's probably the one that's most special to me because it has a memory
Yeah.
attached with it. But I've got a lot of local pieces too, stuff that says Grand Ledge on it, stuff that says
Oh, nice.
Lansing on it, some stuff from Elks Lodge or Oddfellows stuff. I've got stuff from other architectural salvage places that have closed. It's just a whole pile of stuff. Sometimes it's the story,
Mhm.
sometimes it's the color, sometimes I don't know.
Yeah. What would you say is right now the most common way that you're coming across items? Are you still out there grabbing things off the side of the road?
Sometimes, yeah, it's still quite a mix. More and more, I have people reaching out that have things that are followers and like, hey, I have this, or my grandma has this, or you're interested in that. Sometimes I do some estate sales if there's something there that I feel
Okay.
like I have to have and can't live without. Sometimes it's auction sites, sometimes it's side of the road. So yeah, it's kind of
A
a mix.
mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're restoring the place that you got in Grand Ledge, I think you said 18 months ago. What what does that restoration look like? What needs to be restored to kind of
Yeah.
have this come to fruition?
So when we moved, so now we're back in Grand Ledge. We moved south of Grand Ledge. Now after the mansion, we moved south of Grand Ledge, and now we're back in Grand Ledge again. And so part of the sale from the last house, because I was losing my pole barn we moved into a subdivision. I really wanted to acquire a building
Okay.
for the business to be its own thing. But I wanted it to be close to home too. And Grand Ledge, for being small town, doesn't really have a ton of available commercial
Yeah.
space. Um, and I'm so particular with what I want. Most all of my sales happen on Instagram. Rarely are they local. I would say 95%, maybe even more, go out of state.
Wow.
That 9 foot by 10 foot cabinet, it's in Florida. I've shipped stuff to Florida, Texas, Alaska, California, everywhere. And so I didn't need visibility. I didn't need walk-in traffic. I didn't want to be
Yeah.
on the main drag. I don't need Bob and Betty Sue aren't going to walk into my shop and be like, "Hey, I was thinking about a 10-foot cabinet for $10,000. Yeah, I'll take it." It's so. But I wanted a cool look. I wanted a cool vibe. So I started scouring aerial views of Grand Ledge and looking at buildings that might be kind of like tucked in off the beaten path that are more of a commercial use that I could just it can I didn't need heat, I didn't need plumbing, like I just need a cool space. And so I started putting, I'd find a property, I'd find out who owned it, I'd find out a phone number, and I'd start tracking people down. And I got some leads here and there, and I almost bought a building, but it wasn't really the vibe and I wasn't really excited about it. And in the meantime, I had been bugging this guy on West Jefferson Street for 6 months or more. I'd driven past this building since, basically all my life. And I don't think it's been vacant for 10, 20 years.
Wow.
And, I found out who owned it. I found out somebody who knew who owned it. So I got a cell phone number and I called him and he said, "Hey, would you be open to selling it?" And he's like, well, I want to do some work to it first. And I'm just like, I don't want you to do any work to it. I want to do the work because I'm very particular and I want to do it how I want to do it. And we kind of went back and forth. I'd leave him alone and then I'd bug him, a month later. I bugged him enough times where I haven't even seen the inside of it at this point. And so he let me see the inside of it. We talked some numbers and we talked some more numbers and then we kind of negotiated. And then I looked at it one last time while it was raining and it was raining inside the building. I'm just like, the roof is, I knew the roof was bad, but I didn't know it was like immediately bad. I was like, I can, build up funds for it. So there was a lot of back and forth with that, but eventually we came to terms. I acquired it. I put a new roof on it this year. But I don't have all of the history as far as the dates are concerned. I have a picture from, I believe, 1924, where it was called West End Grocery and Butcher Shop. In the 60s, 70s, it was called Cut Right. It's been a number of things, but originally built as a butcher shop. So it's 4,000 square feet on the main floor, and there's a front area which I've cleaned out and am utilizing, but it goes back quite a ways. But the back quite a ways is all coolers, like the massive old latching cooler wood doors, and it's got a tracking system where they would bring the meat from outside into the coolers, and they used to rent out storage for hanging meat as well. So it's got a cooler that just has like tracks that go in and around, so you can just kind of like line up the slabs of beef. Right. So all of that is there. It's like a beautiful old brick building, and I love the history of it. It's got a cool vibe to it. Like it needs a lot of work.
Right.
But I've got the ability to do that. And with it being a side business and a side hobby, it still gives me so much joy and passion. Like I don't have to do this. Like my day job pays the bills. This is fun. I don't make a profit per se on the architectural salvage business. It just pays the bills. Like it pays my payment on the building, utilities, and just, keeps evolving. But so I have to do the roof. Everything has to be done, but I also don't need it. I'm kind of making it look more industrial than what it had been, because it was drywalled all pretty and stuff like that. It's like, no, I want the grungy walls that show the brickwork that I can put my old stuff on. So it's a lot.
Sounds like it. Yeah. I always like to talk a little bit about the business side of things. That's, that can be part of the inspiration for viewers. But before I switch gears to that, a little lightheartedness, I guess. When did Bruce join the team?
Bruce.
The goat? Is that the right name?
Oh, maybe. Did I name him Bruce? I might have named him Bruce. I say a lot of stuff online.
Beth told me that his name was Bruce.
I think you're right. I think it is Bruce. Okay. So I also love taxidermy. I've had a lot of different taxidermy over the years. And so Bruce came to me along with a full-size caribou, like legs, body, everything. That came out of Ohio, and a gentleman and his dad had traveled all over North America, acquiring this, hunting and acquiring the taxidermy. And the caribou actually went to my good friends down in Colon, Michigan. They have a business called Fair and Tall, and it's a experience property with food, and they were opening a market, and so Bruce, or the caribou, now sits on a table. It is the main focal point in their market, and so Bruce is still with me because I need to repair his ear and just haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's in quite a few of the videos. Very entertaining.
Yes, yeah, no, he's interesting. He's a good at acquisition.
Yeah. Will Bruce eventually be for sale?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. There's a few things that, there's quite a few things that aren't for sale. Everything's for sale for the right number, I think.
True. Yeah.
I had one piece that was extremely unique, and I'd never seen another one, and probably wouldn't see another one again. And somebody out of Brooklyn, New York, saw the video that was in the background of it. Hey, is that for sale? I said no, and he's like, hit me with the I don't want to sell it price. I hit him with it. He's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, okay. But then I had such seller's remorse that I immediately started searching for another one. And that evening, I found another one.
Wow.
And it was in Indianapolis. And I reached out to the lady, and she said, yes, it's still for sale, but I sold the business and I have to have everything out of here tonight.
Oh, wow.
So if you want it, you can have it, but it has to be picked up tonight. And I didn't have any way of accomplishing that.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to a buddy who does a lot of my shipping for me. And I was like, hey, are you traveling through there anytime soon? He's like, yeah, I'm actually going from, Wisconsin to Florida right now. I can swing through, within a couple hours. So he grabbed it for me, and then I had it again. So I'm not going to sell that one again.
So I'm sorry, did you say what that piece was?
No.
Okay.
It was Masonic Order of the Eastern Star ceremonial light. Yes, the star.
Yes. Okay.
So they would use it in ceremonies, and each button lights up a different portion of the sign. It's all handmade glass hand. Yeah. It's
beautiful. I've seen it in the videos. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So that was the piece.
Very nice. Okay. So I feel like, myself and the viewers, we've got this really great picture of what you love about this business. And you've talked a lot about, your Instagram page and TikTok, and you've got this amazing, engaging personality in your social media. And I'm just wondering, how have you seen those platforms grow your business? It sounds like that's kind of been where it's grown.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Media. Yeah. And I got my feet wet in it with the house restoration stuff. And it started as a way to document. It's like, hey, I'm going to want to look back on this and see what we did and what we accomplished, and people find that cool. That's cool too. The last house that we did was during COVID too. And social media kind of took a different form during COVID. Yeah. Everybody's doing their projects and everybody was engaged, and it was just a different time in social media and algorithms and whatnot. And so there wasn't really, I just got to goof off. I don't take anything too seriously. I got to do or say whatever I want. I didn't do any brand partnerships. I didn't do any deals. I didn't do, nothing was, it was just, there was no recourse really, other than people being here and there trying to be mean, but I've got some fairly thick skin.
It happens. Yeah.
I think in the world, especially bring it to present day, in the world of AI and news, and nobody knows what to believe anymore. Like, you can't believe anything that you see or even hear, it seems like. So I think there's even a shift now where people crave authenticity. Mm-hmm. And people don't want to be sold stuff. They don't want to be told what to do. They just want a real human being. And I think that's where people resonate with my social media, is like, I'm just having fun. Like, I'm just goofing off. Like, if that resonates with you, great. If not, no big deal. I'm not for everybody. That's fine. So I don't have a ring light. I don't have a tripod. I don't usually do multiple takes of anything. I point the camera, turn it on, and I post it.
Right.
you know, and that makes it easier too. Like I'm not stressed out about like,
Yeah.
oh, this lighting isn't good, this audio isn't perfect. I've gotten fairly good at editing, fairly quickly on the fly. But I just try to have fun and goof off. That's really it.
Yeah. And that was definitely the vibe that I got from it. Like I can tell that you're having fun. And I don't think very many people have the benefit of being able to do something like that in their free time, do something that they are passionate about. And you've kind of got the perfect personality for that type of platform. So
No, I appreciate that.
if
And I think, and everybody's got their different journey in work and passion
yep,
projects, but I think majority of people are doing a job for a paycheck, not because it's necessarily something that they want to do.
right.
And I'm not passionate about too many things, in most of the jobs that I have been, it's a paycheck. I enjoy
Yeah.
what I do. I don't dislike it by any means, but give me the option to not do that, I would choose to do the other thing.
Yeah.
So, it's a balance where it's like, okay, this is the paycheck and this is the creative, fun outlet, and I'm fortunate to be able to do both.
Right. Yeah, I would say that that's kind of what this podcast is for me is, I do love what I do. I love the type of law that I practice and the people that I get to work with, but it keeps me so busy that I don't get time to get out and connect with people like I did when I first started and I wasn't busy. And
Sure. Yeah.
so being able to actually have one-on-one time with other business owners, with people that are passionate about what they're doing, that is kind of a little bright spot for me. So
Hmm.
that's my little passion
Your
project
your
is
outlet.
really the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Sure.
At any point since you started doing the restoration or the architectural salvage, have you been able to find connection with other business owners and build relationships like that?
Yeah. It's good you bring that up because that's both types of businesses, and there's a lot of overlap there too. I've met so many cool people, and yeah, I can barely think of very many negative interactions with similar type businesses.
Okay.
There's probably the first one and most developed is Bo and Kyle. They own Woodward Throwbacks in Hamtramck, Detroit area.
Okay.
Good size, social media following, and they're just genuine good humans. And first connected with them online, and then made a trip to Detroit and got to know them and started hanging out with them a little bit more. And they're just fun people. And yeah, there's a lot of them, all over. I would say I don't know what the ratio is now, but the amount of antique shops or restoration companies or that follow me on social media who do similar things is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And I've bought and sold things to those people too. We all have different markets or different things that we're into.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll trade stuff because they're like, hey, I've got this big cabinet. It's not really our thing. And I don't really do smalls and little things. So let's do a thing. Peoria Architectural Salvage in Peoria is Janine is wonderful. Like I bought a 300 feet of wrought iron fencing for the mansion because I fenced it in because with dogs and kids and stuff, and I spent a whole summer building it. But that came out of her shop,
Wow.
and so built a relationship, there early on. The
So it
connections
sounds
are
like it's
fun.
been very positive building those relationships and
For sure. Yeah. And even the guy from Buffalo, New York, he's like, we've got a couple architectural salvage businesses in here, but he's like, you seem like the type of person that actually cares.
yeah.
And so giving me the first opportunity to come into this business that's 175 years old and take my pick of what I want, to purchase it was a cool opportunity that just,
Yeah.
and he was just basing it off of following me for a couple of years. And he's like, hey, I think you'd be into this. I think we'd be into you. I ended up staying in his house that night.
Wow.
He's like, hey, come out to dinner with my wife and I. And then he's like, hey, where are you staying tonight? I was like, I don't know. I was just going to figure it out. He's like, come, we've got an extra bedroom. Stay with us.
Oh, good people.
Genuine. Yeah. The people are great. And I feel like I'm a fairly good judge of vibes and people's characters. And sometimes, it's just like, hey, you guys are genuine human beings. I really enjoy this conversation. Let's hang out.
Yeah. So what's next for Good as Old?
Same old, I think. we are going to continue to work on the business. I'm kind of busting at the seams as far as the little space that I occupy now, because when I acquired the building, part of the deal was that I acquired it with everything that was in it, which was mostly junk.
The coolers and all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's wood, there's like piles of wood and old cabinets and moldy couches, and there's some of their stuff there didn't have a ton of value, but wasn't worth throwing out. And luckily it's on a busy enough road where, if I'm working on something, I can put a pile up front. By the end of the day, it disappears.
Yeah.
So I've been able to slowly work on that. I don't really have any grandiose plans for the business, really. I just kind of, as long as it's paying for itself, I'm pretty good with that. And I'm saving up for some of the bigger purchases that I need to work on the building on. But as long as it's self-sufficient, I'm good with that. Maybe someday, I don't know if it's retirement, I don't know if it's before, I would love to do it full time, but I also don't want the burden of, I have to sell this piece or I can't pay my bills.
Right.
That doesn't sound fun, and I want it to stay fun. I want it to stay something I enjoy doing. But, as I can travel a little bit further as time allows for more unique and bigger options, and as the social media grows, I think opportunities to do more of those things will grow. More so when I was doing the old home restoration stuff during COVID, we had developed a good relationship with Cheap Old Houses, Ethan and Elizabeth Finkelstein. I don't know if you follow them. I think they're bumping on 3 million followers now, but they also really grew over the COVID time period. And we were in the New York Times, a number of different news outlets and media. And I probably have taken 20 different meetings with producers who want to develop a show, whether it was just like an episode on an existing show or my own show or something like that.
That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's just, I don't have the time. And so I just never did anything. So there's probably something there, but also, in the world of social media, you can kind of make your own show by yourself without anybody else. So there's a balance there. Yeah. But so I don't know. I don't really have any definite plans or direction on it. It's just fun.
Right. It's been really great to talk with you today. I've learned so much, and I really love being able to connect with other business owners that do have that passion. So this has been very refreshing.
For sure. Yeah.
If you're watching this episode and you're not following Dave yet, definitely go check out the Instagram or TikTok page. I did a little bit of a deep dive, just checking out different things, and it's very refreshing. So I just want to thank you for joining me.
For
and
sure.
If you're watching and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast or nominate another business owner, you can email my assistant Beth at cornerstonelegalpllc.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Built in the 517. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel today and support local businesses in the 517 and hear more inspiring stories.